Ranch in Murchison, Texas. We are one of the largest and most diverse sanctuaries in the United States. We're owned and operated by the Humane Society of the United States. We have over 800 animals, over 40 different species. Most have come from cruelty, neglect, or law enforcement seizures. We are happy to take India back home to Black Beauty, where he will be introduced into a half-acre, naturally wooded habitat with a pool, trees, platform, and a proper nutritious diet. Our goal is to provide him the best quality of life for the rest of his life, and we hope that he will spend the rest of his life at Black Beauty. We are staunch supporters of the Big Cat Public Safety Act, which would limit private ownership and public contact with these dangerous animals. These animals, while they are beautiful and majestic, they are wild. You cannot tame a tiger just by raising them from a baby. It takes thousands of years to domesticate a species. You're not going to domesticate a tiger. And so while he is playful at this age, as an adult, he can be deadly. And so it's our goal to not have these animals as pets. They do not belong in people's homes. They belong in the wild, and when they can't be in the wild, we as a sanctuary are happy to step up and take them. We are always pushing for stronger laws in Texas that would ban this outright. It's already illegal here in the city of Houston, but in many counties in Texas, it's perfectly legal with a permit. And we want to help get laws passed to where it's illegal across the state.
Have you had a chance to look at India? How's he doing?
We've not done a full examination on him yet. We want to get him back to the sanctuary as quickly as possible so that we're not stressing him out. But just based on a quick visual inspection, he looks to be healthy. We're not seeing anything significantly wrong with him at this time.
Could you talk about the procedure when you take him to your guys' ranch and what you guys will do to acclimate him to your guys' sanctuary?
Absolutely. So today when we get back, we will introduce him into his den, his private den, which is enclosed, and it's a smaller space so that he can slowly acclimate to being in such a large, expansive environment. After we feel that he's comfortable and calmed down, we will introduce him into his half-acre habitat. We have close observation protocols that we follow. We have very strict safety protocols that we follow to ensure that not only is he kept safe, but he's not a danger to the public either.
You guys have other tigers too as well, right?
We have several other tigers. We rescued Loki from Houston 2 years ago that was found in the home in Houston. And then we just recently rescued Elsa, who was from San Antonio. Bexar County Sheriff's Department helped us with that.
Will the tiger be able to interact with other tigers, or will that habitat be in a solitary situation?
Well, he will be in quarantine for the first 30 days just so we can make sure that he is not contagious and that he's healthy and that we're not potentially inflicting our other cats to any diseases or viruses. After that, he will have visual sight of other tigers, and then it just depends on our tigers' personalities. It's not always easy to introduce tigers together, especially as they're older, but we'll just play it by ear and see if he's interested in meeting any of our other tigers.
What is he going through right now?
I'm sorry?
What is he going through right now? We understand that he's in a very small cage. He's been moving around. He's been a little agitated. How can we describe it? How would you describe what he's going through right now?
It's pretty typical for a wild animal. He's not happy being in a confined cage, obviously, so that's why we want to get him back as quickly as possible. But even after we transferred him to our cage, after a couple minutes he sat down and rested, which means that he is able to acclimate to his environment for the meantime, but we don't want to keep him in there any longer than we have to.
Are there any stops on the way, like the actual journey, any special things that you have to do?
We'll stop a couple of times just to check on him, make sure he's doing okay. We've brought medical equipment and drugs if we need it for any emergencies. However, it should be just a straight shot back to Murchison, which is about 3 hours.
Will we be able to get any visuals of the place where the tiger's going to be taken?
Absolutely. We will be releasing video of him as he's acclimated to the different stages. And then once he's settled in, there's a possibility to come out to the sanctuary for an in-person visit.
About how long does it take for the tiger to acclimate?
It depends. Each individual tiger is different. Usually within a day or two, they've settled down. But again, it just depends on the individual.
And to the bigger half-acre area, is it several months before?
Oh no, it'll probably be just a few days is what we hope. Any other questions?
Tiger eat?
Tigers are carnivores, so they eat meat. It's very important to ensure that they have a complete diet. They need organ meats, they need bones, so we ensure that they have a very varied, healthy diet. We have a full-time board-certified veterinarian on staff. We have a highly trained staff that's here with me today, and they take excellent care of all of our animals.
Is behavior normal, or do you feel any trauma?
He is obviously used to being handled by humans, which is not normal for a tiger, obviously. But as we found with Loki and Elsa, they acclimate very quickly to being a wild tiger. We do not pet them, we do not go in with them, we have protected contact with them at all times because they are a predator. But they receive a lot of enrichment, a lot of activity at the sanctuary, and they turn into wild tigers, which is what they are.
Do they experience any type of separation anxiety from humans?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to know exactly what they're thinking or feeling. We certainly don't see any prolonged effects from any of our tigers having been in the pet trade.
Will people be able to visit the sanctuary and see the tigers, or is this just for them to live out their lives because they've been removed from the natural?
That's a great question. So we are not open to the public on a regular basis like a zoo. Post-COVID, we will have small pre-scheduled guided tours, but those tours are not for people to necessarily just look at animals. We're trying to educate people on why these animals came here so that hopefully we can put ourselves out of business so that we don't need to have sanctuaries because people are not buying tigers as pets.
How would you describe his state right now?
He seems pretty calm. This is what I was saying. He kind of just settled down and is going with the flow. As soon as we leave here, we'll probably do a stop to get him some water, make sure that he's comfortable before our journey, and then we'll check on him. But otherwise, we'll get him into his den as quickly as possible when we get back to the sanctuary this afternoon. So, okay.
Where's the half-acre property? Is that around here?
Oh, we are on 1,400 acres in northeast Texas. But his habitat alone will be a half acre in size. So yeah.
So could you talk a little bit about what he eats and about the money? I mean, it's incredible to think about someone who have that.
Absolutely. It costs anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 per year to care for a tiger in a sanctuary or zoo setting. That includes not only the diet, but the staffing, the veterinary care, the supplies, the electricity, the utilities, the construction costs. It's quite expensive. So again, when sanctuaries take on this responsibility, we're taking it on for life, and we're happy to do that. But we are a nonprofit, and we do survive off of donations, and we do need the public support to help care for these animals. And the Cleveland Amory Black Beauty Ranch has been in existence since 1979. We're one of the oldest sanctuaries in the United States as well, too.
What's the life expectancy?
In captivity, it could be in the early 20s. It just depends on the cat, and we typically get animals in the later years of their lives, not necessarily when they're babies. So if they've been living off of an improper diet, there may be a lot of health issues. We've seen a lot of renal failure in cats that have lived in the pet trade, metabolic bone disease, other concerning issues when cats are raised, or cats or any other animal is raised on an improper diet.
So India could live like 20 years?
Yes, absolutely.
How is Loki doing?
Loki is doing amazingly well. We were just talking about him on the way up here. He is a confident, playful, energetic tiger. He has, we have a rotating pasture or habitat system. Some of our pastures or enclosures are as large as 3 acres. Everybody gets to play in large spaces. They get to hide in the woods. They get to climb platforms, swim in pools. They get to live as a tiger would, as close as a tiger would in the wild.
Why would the sanctuary take over instead of like the Houston Zoo?
Well, I can't speak to the zoo, but that's what we do. That's what sanctuaries do. We take in animals that nobody else wants or that had no other place to go. That's our goal, is to provide a safe habitat where they can live with dignity for the rest of their lives.
So while humans might be feeling, separated from this animal, like the owners, the animal's really not going to
It's amazing how quick they adapt to not being around people. You know, they're wild animals. They go right back to being a wild cat. They do not show any adverse effects from not being around humans.
Or the other way around.
It's more the other way around. We see a lot of detrimental attributes to animals when they've lived with humans for extended periods of time. Wild animals, that is.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions? Otherwise, if you guys want to move closer, which way did you want to say?
Yeah, we'll stop at this line right here. And I will say, if he gets stressed or agitated, I'm going to ask everybody to pull back for his safety. And he's not like crying. Yeah.
Go ahead and disconnect it.